This business is like the Wild West. Gold, silver, rare coins, lost treasures of history. You never know what's gonna walk through that door. Oh, whoa!
This is a Civil War sword.
I got robbed at gunpoint.
Watch this.
I'm Evan Kale, and this is Pawn Man. Guys, we have a great episode of Pawn Man in store. Once again, I want to thank the episode sponsor, Bong Water Beverage Company, a THC-infused drink designed to hit you fast and taste great. Bong Water is available in Minnesota, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Texas, parts of Wisconsin. They have a variety of flavors and options, including sugar-free, which I recommend because I'm of an advanced age and need to kind of watch my diet and I can't guzzle soda like I used to. And gluten-free as well, which I don't keep gluten-free because that's snake oil. But they do have a gluten-free option too. Bong Water Beverage Company, again, available in those great states. Must be 21 or older to consume in Minnesota. As you can see, I've already gotten started here on this one. This product hits you in like 10 minutes. So check it out, Bong Water Beverage Company, link in the video description. They're a great supporter here of me. And find out if they're coming to a state near you because they are expanding into other states. Again, that's Bong Water Beverage Company. And remember, don't hit the bong, drink the water. Bong Water. Plated stuff.
It's plated.
Yeah, it's plated. Is this sterling here?
Nope.
It's all plated. This is plated, I can tell.
Okay. This is supposedly sterling. It says sterling.
That's the sterling?
It says, that's what it says.
You mind if I just grab all this and
Yeah,
dump it on?
just take it.
Oh! Let's see, what do we got here? 12.1, we'll call it 13 bucks.
Hey.
All right, so let's file this here and see if it's sterling. All right, so I'm gonna do here is just make a little mark. I just kind of file the surface. I don't think this is sterling. It looks like copper right there. So I'm gonna put this acid on. If it turns green, it is not sterling. Yep, turning green, not sterling. So we'll call it 15 bucks.
You know what you're talking about.
You got anything else?
Not today.
Okay. Well, if you keep up with the decluttering, I buy anything here but guns. Okay, that was I think all silver plate. To be honest, there might be some sterling there. I just intentionally didn't check because they didn't check, and it's like if you don't think it's sterling, then I don't think it's sterling. Why would I think that it's more money? Let's double check. Oh, this might be sterling. Okay, that's copper right there. No, that's not sterling, that's plated. You see that? It's turning green. Yeah, it's just well plated. Oh, since silver has moved up, the silver plate, I still pay $1 a pound because everyone in town does. I'm getting about $3 a pound, so I'll make about 20 bucks in that deal, but basically I spent more money than I should have to get them back here because I know they got more stuff, so. So you do it. And now, what do we do with Grandma Silver? What do we do with Grandma Silver? What do we do with Grandma Silver? We throw it away. Jazz hands. Serial killer basement. Looks like I'm Hitler with Parkinson's.
Are you ever looking for any extra help around here?
Potentially.
Because I am, actually, I'm quitting my job.
Why don't you come back, on Friday? We just had a couple people quit, actually. Anyway, let's see what we got here.
So
I see a Carson City.
Yep, so we got this one.
What do you want?
I want like 90 or 100 on it.
90?
I'll do 90.
90. You got it at 90.
I mean, it's
I'm selling this to
it's
90.
like 250 bucks, you know.
I'll do 95.
Roughly. Okay, cool. I don't know what you're doing on premium today.
You tell me. Silver's 24 and a half.
24 and a half. Would you do 26.50?
Yep. Times how many ounces?
5.
Okay, I'll call it 133. I'll round up.
Okay. You make me an offer on this one.
Let me see it. Oh, it's an MS62.
Mm-hmm. It does have the certs too.
I mean, I'm everywhere from 350 to 450, I'm seeing.
2 1/4?
Deal. You're being too mean to yourself. I'll make it 235.
Perfect. I was gonna go 250, but
I'll do 250.
all right. I got Queens and Kings Beast. I don't want to sell them both. This one's more expensive than this one.
Sell me the cheaper one.
Call it 280, and then I don't think I got 2 beat up.
Oh, the pedophile.
I got a.
And you got a 69, 40 bucks. Okay. All right, we got 250 plus 280 plus 95, 798. We'll call it 800.
Perfect.
All right, how am I gonna do on this? This is going on my Whatnot auction. 275. I'll get probably 350 on this. These are super collectible. The Morgan, this is 400 bucks probably. This is probably 200, so 6. Here's my money, here's my profit. What's the profit? About 250 bucks. And maybe I'll hire that guy. We'll see. I got 2 remote deals in front of me. I want to thank my customer Mike and my other customer Christopher for sending me these. Let's go through both of them. I've started going through Mike's Mickey Mouse watch, Loris Quartz. I literally have one that I bought when I opened this place up. It's brand new. I paid 30 bucks. I've been sitting on it trying to get 40. So I'm gonna stick with 5. Okay, honestly, you guys, don't just send me change that's like not numismatic, because this goes in my piggy bank. By piggy bank, I mean I have a burlap sack, and once a year I spend it on something stupid, usually drugs. Well, if you want to contribute to the Evan Kale Drug Fund, go ahead and send me some non-numismatic coins. Okay, cute. It's costume. Stainless steel, gold filled. These old safety razors are actually really shitty. I will show you why. You guys remember these? I found the deal. It was like 2 years ago. These are original razor blades from the 1950s in their original case with the original display. And these are from the goddamn movie Grumpy Old Men. Literally, this is a film prop from a movie. I haven't sold these yet. I haven't even had a single offer. I paid $150 for this. This is probably not something I want to buy. Okay, this is cool. An Ireland mother of pearl lighter. 10 bucks for 1, 2, 3 lighters. That's fair. This whole deal, I'm gonna call it 200, and that's like top dollar. So let's message him, see if we got a deal, and move on to the next. This one, I have no idea what I'm getting into here. I've got some boomer shit already, colorized $2 bill. I'm actually, this one I'll resell. I'm saving every $2 bill for my friend Steph for her honeymoon, because pro tip, you guys, if you're going to the Caribbean, bring $2 bills and tip the locals in it. They love $2 bills. They don't see them very often, and they think you're giving them something fancy. Okay, anyway, moving on. Oh, Civil War coin and stamp collection, more boomer shit. Oh, peaches. I always make the craziest face when I'm cutting too. Oh, that's that bullshit that started. We have a 1983 S 25-cent Ultra Cameo with a score of 9.9. The f am I supposed to do with 9.9? I'm not trained on a 10-point grading scale. I'm trained on the Sheldon grading scale. This pisses me off so much they're doing this. The Sheldon grading scale, which is out of 70 points, has been perfected as the standard of how you measure coins, how you grade them. Now they have this out of 10 points crap. It completely undermines the science. It completely undermines what people have learned how to grade coins. You can't just take one scale and then dumb it down and try and apply it to a different scale. It's not easy to do. It completely f***s up the scale, f***s up everybody who's been trained under this. It's such a slap in the face to the science. The only reason why they did this is because people are dumb. They somehow couldn't wrap their heads around 70 points. You want to know how Patrick Sheldon got 70 points? He looked at a penny that was really beat up, and he looked at a penny that was in perfect condition. He thought, a penny is in perfect, flawless shape. Is worth 70 times what the most beat up example is. And 70 cents against 1 cent was quite a difference. He had never conceived how expensive the world of coin collecting was gonna get. So that made sense to him, and he made the Sheldon grading scale. And then people were trained on it, like I said, for decades. And now suddenly they want to do this 10-point crap. That's all I have to say about that. Oh, cool. Louisiana baby bond. I have no idea what a baby bond is. Let's see, looks like we have some note geld, some common ones, because I recognize I have them. MS 70, first day issue, 30th anniversary, the Eagle. All right, so the baby bond I found for 76 bucks, so I'll offer 50. That's kind of top dollar. I'm gonna offer 10 on the note geld, all the currency, including this novelty gold back. We're gonna call it 110 bucks, plus the boomer, plus this shipped. We're gonna call this deal 600 bucks. Really quick, guys, before we get into the episode, I have a book recommendation. We're talking about Japanese money. We'll get to it in a sec. I majored in Japanese stuff. I love Japanese culture, and I love it for the samurai, like all things samurai. It drove me into my martial arts career, and I have a pretty storied martial arts career. I want to recommend something to you guys. If you're interested in samurai culture, I cannot recommend this book enough. This is Hagakure. This was written by Yamamoto Tsunetomo in the 1700s. I wrote my senior thesis on this book, and it's a guidebook written by a samurai for a samurai, how to be a perfect samurai. It's full of just little adages here. There is some really good wisdom to be had here in these pages. I also recommend checking out a movie called Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, starring Forrest Whitaker. The RZA did the soundtrack. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I'll read you guys a quick passage. When one's own attitude on courage is fixed in his heart, and when his resolution is devoid of doubt, then when the time comes, he will of necessity be able to choose the right move. This will be manifested by one's conduct and speech according to the occasion. One's word is especially important. It is not for exposing the depths of one's heart. This is something that people will know by one's everyday affairs. Like I said, there's some good wisdom in here. My favorite quote, though, all man's work is a bloody business. You know, or women's work or whatever. I just translated to all humans' work to be more modern. But again, Hagakure, the Book of the Samurai, and we got a really interesting subject to talk about next. Once again, you guys, I want to thank our episode sponsor, Bong Water Beverage Company. Check them out. There is a link in the video description below. They are available in Minnesota, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Texas, parts of Wisconsin. If they're not available in your state and you have sane legislation that allows THC products, check out and see if they're coming to a state near you. They are expanding rapidly. Again, the product is called Bong Water. It's not literal bong water, it's just a catchy name. Available gluten-free, sugar-free, a variety of milligrams. Check it out. Must be 21 or older in Minnesota. And with that, we are talking about a subject I have been wanting to talk about for quite a while, and that is the subject of Japanese coinage and currency. Although obscure, it is extremely historically important coinage. Coins are people, coins are history. Now, going back, Japan as we know it as a unified nation didn't get its start really as that until 1603 with the Tokugawa period. But before that, it was a very disorganized country with a lot of feudal fighting, a lot of infighting, a lot of ambiguous borders and rules. The early Japanese economy was bartering very much. In fact, there's a lot of aspects with this. Very much like early colonial America, the first settlers here in this country didn't have a central currency because as a subject of the crown, you were not allowed to make your own currency. It was an act of defiance because what happens, we've talked about this before, what happens if you make your own economy? Well, then you can make your own independent wealth and strength and secede. So to keep their thumb under all their subjects, the British crown wouldn't let people make their own money. In this case, in Japan, you had their version of natives that were living on the land and been living there for millennia. But then you have people coming over from the continent, as it's known. Mostly people coming over in very, very, very small numbers from China, migrating in the early AD period, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. It wasn't until the 700s that Japan got its first coin. It was 708 AD. It was known as the Wado Kaichin. The name largely derives from Wado, the era of production. And these were copper coins. They actually were very similar to Chinese coins, same design with a hole through them. They also featured Chinese characters as well. These coins typically bore the value that they were, and then the era that they were minted. Now, they couldn't mint very many of them. They didn't have a centralized minting process. It was still largely a barter system. The scale of bartering was based on rice because it was the most common, most accessible good, the most used good. Everybody used it for food, cooking, so many other things. So the rice system was kind of their gold standard. Now, some other coins came about with the start of the Heian period shortly after. Some of these are known as Fuhosen coins, but these, again, were not limited in mass production. They weren't meant for everyone. Generally, only more wealthy people were using them. It was an important thing to have a coin because it's such a simple way to buy and sell stuff. It's easy to transport. You're lugging around bags of rice. That's heavy. You have a coin that can buy 10 bags of rice. Well, that's a lot more convenient. But alas, very much like with early America, it was just so scarce, thus the barter system. What do you have? And see if we can trade. Now, it wasn't until the end of the Muromachi period, in the end of the 1570s, that you have more centralized coinage and government and just more of a country itself forming what we recognize Japan today is. I'm sure many of you are familiar with samurai. One of the biggest staples of human culture, most recognizable human culture. Japan was a very bloody place until the 1600s, until Tokugawa Ieyasu conquered and unified the whole country. Japan was split up into warring factions. These various scattered territories would have a ruler and they'd be, allying with one another, warring against each other. You had mercenaries floating back and forth from one side to another. Japan was a bloody place. It was very easy to lose your life here, especially if you were a Westerner. You were not allowed in the country as a Westerner. If they caught you, they would kill you. They were a country of strict isolationism, and this isolationism intensified when Tokugawa Ieyasu conquered everything and installed his new government, the shogunate government. And what the shogunate government did was they installed beneath them these smaller feudal lords known as daimyo. The introduction of the Tokugawa shogunate saw gold, silver, and copper coins, so precious metal becomes more of a thing. These coins become more centrally minted, they become more commonplace. But what's interesting, what you start to get, again, mimics the American system with American banknotes and banks being able to print their own currency until the Federal Reserve Act, and for Japan, this wouldn't come for a while. Various feudal territories were known as han, and so each han, each district, if you will, was allowed to make its own currency. coins and paper currency as well. And just like with America, there were serious problems with counterfeiting, with, how does one scale into another? You could go from one domain to another, and generally they were accepted across the borders, but the public had a lot of trouble trusting it. It was a very radical, strange thing to them. Paper, how's this worth anything? I want a gold coin, not paper. Now, I couldn't find the punishment for counterfeiting. I would think it was death. Like I said, they killed your ass so easily back then. They would test swords on criminals, and oftentimes they were bandits that didn't kill anyone. They just were trying to steal. Despite the public having trouble with the paper currency, the Tokugawa were pretty brutal in their enforcement of their ways, and it's like, take it or here's a sword. Again, the brutality here. The purpose of the paper, though, largely, it was just to fill the void in coins because they still didn't have machines making coins. Japan is a very ancient society. They had despite some very advanced cultural ideas, their technology was not what it was in the West. And this will come into play later in 1853, but we'll get to that in a sec. Part of why Japan's culture, their national identity, is so unique and interesting and largely alien to Westerners is because of their policy of isolationism that lasted for a very long time, hundreds and hundreds of years. There were numerous attempts by invaders to conquer Japan, to sail over with an army. On July 8th, 1853, the United States Navy sent 4 warships to Japan commanded by Commodore Perry. He arrived in Edo Harbor, which is now outside of Tokyo, and they fired off their guns. They didn't shoot anything specific, they just fired them off. And this was like, unbelievable technology. It was terrifying. And so they said, we're gonna be coming in, either you open our ports to us, or we're gonna come in by force, and we're gonna come back with a lot more ships. Well, lo and behold, they kind of conspired on shore and said, come on in, guys. So this was the Western wedge driving into the isolated Japan, a country that had been so isolated for so long, so caught up in its own way of life, it refused to take anything else. But now it was being forced to change, and change it did with open arms radically. Japan saw how successful the West was militarily, economically. They saw what they were doing. I mean, Japan was trading with like China and Korea, like, the stuff on the mainland. There was some trade going on, with the Dutch, with other Western powers, but it was very limited capacity. They especially did not want Christianity in the country. So with the arrival of Commodore Perry, the 1850s marked a significant change in Japan that would actually go on to change global history forever. The world that we live in today is, if you trace things back, this one instance here had a lot of ramifications. So this brought in what is known as the Meiji era. The Tokugawa era came to an end, and Emperor Meiji and his era and reign and transformation of Japan began. Just in a very, very short amount of time, by 1900, Japan had electricity put in, Japanese economy completely shifted, the Central Bank of Japan was created in 1781. The official year of the Meiji Restoration was 1868, restoration meaning restoring Japan to the glory that it needs to be so that no Western power can ever come in and knock them over again. This is where you get the yen, which Japan still uses to this day. And again, gold, silver, copper coins, and paper currency too. Now, some of the Edo period coinage was the koban and the buban, and these were precious metal coins designated by size and weight. In fact, I have 2 here in front of me. Let's take a quick look. So 1837, 54, somewhere in there. You'll notice that they don't have exact years. This was part of the minting process that got better, more unified, more homogeneous, more controlled, and that was introduced in the Meiji era. So 1837 to 54, this is silver boo. It's an MS-63. This is in my personal collection. I'm keeping this one. I sent this in myself. And then this one, 1859 to 68. This one has uncirculated details, but it's been cleaned. You can tell just kind of based on how shiny it is. You see that like cartoon shine versus like this has like a natural shine to it. So this one here is the smaller shoe, and this one also, I think this is a really good example. It looks like it's been cleaned, but it hasn't been. So here are 3 of these pieces in front of me. Unfortunately, no gold, but these coins, you can acquire these for 50 to 100 bucks. The yen officially was introduced in 1871. Initial designs included a dragon, a rising sun, and this was to symbolize both Japan's traditional heritage, identity, some of its culture, but showcase it on the world stage. Hey, this is the new Japan. This is the new money, the yen. They also adopted a Western style of denominations, 1s, 5, 10, 50, 100, 500 yen. Around this time period, you also have the Central Bank of Japan being established, so no longer do you have this, what was the problem in America with the banks, with the printing their own currency. This is all regulated, centralized. It makes it very hard to counterfeit. It is a Western-style government pretty much in every sense that you can imagine. It's capitalism, baby. This Meiji era would roar into the next, and it would go until the end of World War II. Japan really wanted to turn into the West in every sense of the word, including with imperialism and colonialism. So what would go on to become the modern Japanese war machine, the monster of World War II, really started in 1894 with the first Sino-Japanese War. Japan invaded China. The war took a year, and Japan won and claimed some territory, and then it really got an appetite for expanding and doing the whole imperialism thing. They got into a war with Russia. Japan kicked Russia's ass. Something fierce. Now, although Japan would go on to lose World War II, thank God, and undergo major restructuring in its government, its people, its economy, everything, obviously the yen still exists to this day. The Japanese mint makes fabulous coins. They produce mint sets like the US government does every year. But let's quickly talk about some of the most expensive ancient Japanese coins. The 1588 Hishi Oban Tenryo. This is the most valuable Japanese coin ever sold at auction. It went in 2021 for $1.9 million. It originates from the Tensho period, which stretched from 1573 to 1592. It's one of the first Oban coins struck in Japan, so it's kind of a holy grail for somebody wanting to collect Japanese coins. Next, tapping back to last week's episode, it was a pattern coin. 1870 10 yen pattern, year 3. This sold for $666,000. How auspicious. Next is a 1573 to 1591 Naga Oban Tenryo, and a version of one with a minting error. This is the expensive one. That sold for $340,000 in 2021. Next, again, another pattern, an 1870 Japanese 5-coin pattern set. In 2021, this went for $1.56 million, and this coin was struck 2 years after the Meiji Restoration. And then the last one, a 1695 to 1704 Tenryo Oban from the Genroku era, 1688 to 1704. It's described as a cameo, a really, really good looking coin for a shiny patina. And I wonder if this is the same guy, like the same collection, because it's all in 2021. 264 grand for that coin. But don't be alarmed. If you want to get into these coins, you can find much cheaper examples. These silver ones that I have here, it's worth about 100 bucks each. If you're going to be getting like a gold ryo or kind of the staple of old Japanese coinage, a koban, you're looking somewhere $1,000 to $3,000 in that region, and you're getting largely gold value. These aren't as expensive and untouchable as they might seem. I personally think they're really cool. I'm going to start collecting them myself. These two here are going in my private collection, and I'm going to keep adding to it. You can check out the Japanese Mint's website. You can get their products, you can get them online, you can get them through me. It's a really fun and really rich field of historical numismatics.
And that's the magic of the Japanese coinage system. From battered rice to digital transactions, the yen story is more than what a monetary evolution. It's a heartbeat of Japan, pulsing through centuries, echoing the resilience and innovation of a culture that has always looked ahead.
Alright guys, well that'll do it for this episode of Pawn Man. Once again, I want to thank our episode sponsor, Bong Water Beverage Company. Check out Bong Water Beverage Company's website to find out if they're coming to your state. Again, available in Minnesota, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Texas, parts of Wisconsin. Must be 21 or older to consume in Minnesota. If you guys like this video, please share my videos around. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment. If you got an idea for a video, throw it in the comment section. Check out my books on Amazon or get them on my website, shop at pawnmanstore.com. Yeah, I'll see you guys back here for another great video. Later, guys.